Hello. It seems like I have everything set up. Everything should be good to go. Double check uh, that and just quickly also listen to my sound. Make sure that actually works correctly before I start blabbing on and on. Yeah, seems to work. So that's pretty cool. Okay. So I got in the mail something really cool. The Black Magic Atem Mini Pro. I bought it on my own money. Got it from avshop.ca, but it's pretty cool. I actually decided to pull out the phone here. Let me just set the camera angle here. So this is what it looks like. Just sitting on my computer right now. Oh, I did not realize OBS Ninja has its own voice. That was probably echo. Yeah, sorry about that. But anyways, that's what it is. It's actually extremely bright, as you can tell by all the lights there. And you know, this is your very basic stuff. 4, 3, 2, 1. You know, this changes things. This controls audio stuff because there's inputs. Audio for all the HDMI. Switch hands here for a second. This controls your picture-in-picture. This controls your keying, recording online, you know, your transitional effects and stuff like that. From the back, it's pretty basic. I have a lot of stuff plugged in. You can see my HDMI, Ethernet, USB-C, power cable. It's actually a nice power cable. It has the barrel jack on it. But that's basically kind of the overview from the outside. And now I'm not gonna use OBS Ninja, so I'm just gonna close that on my phone, save on battery life. But yeah, it's a pretty neat device. I got it because I figured it would make streaming on-site events a lot easier. If you saw, my computer is actually pretty large. It's as thick as that Atem Mini, which is actually smaller. It's about a couple inches. I want to say like 8 inches across, something like that, something stupid. It's smaller than my Chromebook, which is around like 11 inches. So it's really tiny, all things considered. It does have some limitations, so we'll go over that, but we're actually using it right now. If you saw, there was a USB-C cable plugged into it. And if I actually do that, you'll see that now that's the game. I can do a little picture-in-picture here. So it is working. That's what we're using right now. We'll just fade that in again. Over USB, it is a MJPEG, so it's not going to be the highest fidelity video. But when it comes to cameras, stuff like this, it's basically a souped up cam link because you do have the 2 audio inputs and you have the four. That's number 4. I can count the 4 HDMI inputs. So if you're doing some sort of Zoom meeting, you know, or anything like that, or even just need some method of video switching, like a laptop that just has like QuickSync or NVENC or something, this will be the easy way to go. Gaming might not look the best because it is JPEG, but again, for camera stuff, this is going to be perfectly fine. And there are some other limitations, but it's very basic. You literally just hit the button and then you can just cut, or you can auto, or you can do like fade to black, you know. There's a lot of cool little things built in. It also takes in the audio from the HDMI, so if I actually switch over to the game on my picture-in-picture here, this should have audio coming in through right now, so if I actually just turn it on, you should be hearing that right now. That's my just Nintendo Switch playing its audio. So if you had cameras that, I'll turn that off. Actually, what does this do? Oh wow, you can control the gain as well with these little arrow keys. That's nifty. Anyways, so if this camera also actually has audio, doesn't sound the best, but we can prove that it works. Hold on. So, oh god, this is probably really quiet. Hello. Oh god. Yeah, it's terrible. Okay. Back to the actual reasonable sounding things. So if you did have a bunch of cameras and they had their own microphones on them, if you were doing a show where there's a camera for each person or something like that, or, you know, just anything, you could, in theory, just hook those microphones up to the camera, then pass it through the camera input, camera outputs to HDMI, and then you can do all that there. So for basic switching, this is super easy. I'm imagining this for things like Mafia or D&D, something that the camera angles are more than the gaming. For regular speedrunning, you might be able to get away with this. It realistically only has 2 layers, which is the first layer and the picture-in-picture, right? So if you were gaming, you could have your game fill the whole thing. Let's just do it right now. And then your picture-in-picture, and you know, there's that. You can add images, so you'd be able to probably add a static image of some sort with some transparency. But there's 3 layers, but one of them isn't really all that flexible. So maybe just like a basic static, like, you know, Twitch, Insta, YouTube, stuff like that. But for events, I think the money would be for switching, just regular camera switching. Like, for hosting, if you have one of these and you set up 3 cameras, like a wide shot on an action cam, maybe 2 closer, camcorder, stuff like that, that you could have somebody easily breeze through this. And Mafia or social deduction games of any sort that happen on events, Dungeons and Dragons, somebody can easily just continuously poop, 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 switch through all the camera angles, maybe have an image pop up, that sort of thing, because it doesn't really need more than 2 layers. So for situations like that where the camera is the most important aspect, a device like this would be super handy instead of flipping between scenes or unshowing and showing sources in OBS and everything like that. It's a lot more cumbersome. Even if you did set it up on a Stream Deck and hotkeys or anything like that, something like this will just be a lot easier to use to anybody. You could literally plop them down, go hit these buttons. Now there is 3 different models. Sorry, there is 3 different models. The regular, the Pro, and the Pro ISO. I got the Pro. I didn't feel the need to get the Pro ISO. The only extra thing it has is that every single HDMI input gets recorded on its own. And I'm not paying $500 for that when you can hit record on the camera. So it does make a Resolve project with all your cuts and everything like that, but that's, again, not... If you're going to be taking in video files to then edit, you're probably going to do a different edit than what you did live, because it'll be a highlight reel or something like that. There is one use case where I can see it actually happening, and that's if you have 4K camcorders or cameras, whatever, 2160p, but this only handles up to 1080. So you could record 4K on the cameras, and then this will already have the resolve, and then you literally just replace the files in the project, and boom, now you have a 4K version. But if you're gonna if you're gonna do anything that involves actually re-editing, you're probably just gonna re-edit the whole thing or just a little piece. So it you can get by. It's not personally, it's not worth that extra amount of money. And then you also over the USB, I'm using it as a basically like a capture card right now. You can also record to an external hard drive over the USB-C, but then you lose the webcam functionality. It's really dumb that they don't have two USB-C ports on here, or at least two HDMI outputs, because we actually switch over here. So this is what the Atem software actually kind of looks like, and what's my phone blinking at me for? That's not important. So as you can tell, this is very pared down. But here you can actually switch between as you can see the little picture in picture, it changes. Here's where you change your preview, stuff like that. I have some basic colors here set up. You can do color bars. You can just do your media player. So you don't have to necessarily do everything from the physical switcher. You can have somebody remote control it. Cut back and forth, all that stuff. But anyways, you got your little T-bar here. We're on cut, so it's not going to do anything. But if I do like a dip, you can control that. It's fun stuff. Or you can do like a mix. Keep it 50-50, who knows? So there's a lot of options there. This is where kind of all the keying stuff is that I was talking about, those different layers. So you have your downstream key, which is that one layer I was talking about that isn't really flexible. You can control your transitions. This is your upstream key, which is that super flexible layer. Here you can do like Luma keys and chroma keys and all this stuff. it's super crazy. Hold on. Yeah. Uh, just want to play around with a quick kind of chroma key. I don't think it's actually doing anything, because I don't really have anything to kind of chroma off of. But oh, it's because I'm using the DV. So here you can choose the source for your picture-in-picture and have a border as well. So if I wanted to have a white border, none of this is working right now, which is beautiful. But that's okay. Oh, because technically it's like not on. Weird. I'm still like trying to get used to the software here. Oh, see, that's why. I wasn't actually picture-in-picture. That's why. But see, you can like do a border now and all that stuff. Can turn that off. So in theory, I can actually key something. I don't know. You can play around a lot here. I'll probably at most just really use the picture-in-picture and maybe the image stuff. You do have a media player as well. If you own a hyper deck, you can use that to queue up videos and stuff, and that would technically be a fifth source. It's your MP1 source right here. What people have been doing is actually getting Raspberry Pis, and then there's a software you can buy for, I think it's like 15 euro or something like that, and you install it, and it emulates an Atem hyperdeck, or Blackmagic hyperdeck, sorry, and then it'll just pop up here, and you preload all your videos onto that. So it saves you like an HDMI input, I guess, kind of in a way. I think I don't own one, and I don't have a Raspberry Pi 4 or even 3 to test it out. So even if I wanted to, I can't. But you can also just kind of preload a bunch of stills here as well. So this is what I'm talking about with the with kind of just the static image. If you're doing like Mafia or just the regular gaming thing, got a lot of pop-up stuff, this would be the way to do it, just those stills. I believe there's a Photoshop plugin that kind of lets you also directly import them into Atem software. And then you have like all your media stuff here, you can pick stuff. Audio, this is actually very annoying because if we look at this, let me change where this is for a second. Move my picture right here. Okay. So as you can see, we have camera 1, 2, 3, 4. We have our external audio 1 and 2, and we have our master, okay? We have an equalizer for every single one of these inputs, which is huge, actually. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bands. You got your high pass, low pass, and then low, 2 mids, and high. And it's all configurable. This is pretty awesome. This is like standard kind of mixer fare where you have that many passes of EQ. And then you have dynamics, where you have expanders and gating and compressors and limiters, and all of them are setting. You have makeup gain. So this is like, oh, I forgot. I didn't actually move it. And I'm kind of blocking stuff here. There we go. So you have all this stuff here, essentially like a mini digital mixer. So if you went to a place, we'll use the theoretical next NASA event that is hopefully on site, okay? If I wanted to use this for the hosting, I could use a mixer. I probably will, but it doesn't have to be a very expensive mixer because the only thing I'm going to have are the microphones, and potentially I could do like a left and right kind of panning split, maybe use up both inputs. There's a lot of ways I could do it, but I don't need a laptop or anything because I can do all this audio stuff here, along with the fact of whatever the little mixer board already has included. Now you're probably wondering, why do I hate the fact that this exists? It's because there's no headphone output on this device, which is infuriating. The only way to be able to listen to the audio... Can I reset this? I thought this was reset. There we go. Where's 0? I thought there was 0 somewhere. Anyways. Is if you had a monitor... that has a headphone jack, which you are going to need a monitor for this device anyways, but now you need one specifically with a headphone jack. And that's really annoying. I get it, but I just really wish they would have had one already on here, because the original Atem Mini doesn't have a multi-view out. That doesn't exist. If you... I forgot to add my mic, so whenever I was on the multi-view, you guys can hear me. Beautiful. But anyways, so on the regular Atem, like on this model, you have the multi-view. On the ISO, you'd have the multi-view. On the regular, the cheap one, this is all you get. Doesn't matter what you queue up, what buttons you hit, you're only going to get the program. Because it was meant just as a super cheap video switcher where you don't actually see, you kind of already know what's coming in. Or your thing would have, is there even a preview? No. I think you could set the HMI output to be preview. And then your program would be like the USB output. So I get it. I don't like it. So overall, I think actually there is one more section on the app that we need to go through. Camera. So this is where the big money is. So if you own Blackmagic Pocket cameras, so like the 4K or the 6K, they did an update where over HDMI, the Atem Mini can control the cameras. So you can do all the kind of color correcting that you want to do. Lift, gamma, gain, white balance, all this crazy stuff. You can control it from here. If you have zoom, you can zoom in, right? So if you pair this with the Blackmagic cameras, you're essentially golden, because now you can set up a bunch of different cameras, have them on zoom lenses, you can zoom them in and out between shots, all that stuff, or have potentially somebody designated to do it, and you don't actually have to operate. You don't have to actually be beside the camera. You kind of just preset them and you're good to go as long as it's in the right angle. Obviously, being able to move left and right, up and down will be awesome, but not necessarily needed, right? So there's a lot of control here that I'm personally just not going to use because I don't own any Blackmagic cameras. Maybe in the future, who knows? But yeah, there's a lot of different stuff here. Really, the pattern stuff is cool. We do fill source and we do. Hold on. I'm gonna switch over to my output here, just because I want to see. Yeah, I don't want the chroma key. I want the pattern. Aha, there we go. So there's like very fancy patterns that you can do. You do like a fade split screen or corners, just a little portion. See, these are cool effects right here. Huh, tons of fun stuff. I personally want to use this very soon for a stream idea that I have coming up. Essentially, I live with somebody who DJs, and we're gonna do a live stream DJ set from our backyard. So that should be fun, just to kind of put this through its paces. But yeah, if you're doing events and you want to add an extra component, this is necessarily for speedrunning events, but just even podcasts, this would probably be super useful because you can have somebody just boop, 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 boop. And this Atem Mini is infinitely tinier than a computer. And you could use a laptop, but you don't necessarily need to use a laptop. But if you do, that can control multiple sources. It's a very portable setup compared to a lot of big video switchers. Yeah, if for like in the speedrun context, intermission hosting, Mafia, basic flipping back and forth of video sources, this thing is perfect for that. It is on the pricier side, realistically speaking, because it did cost me almost a little over 900 Canadian actually, which considering the Canadian is like 30 cents below the American, that's probably a lot cheaper for other people in other parts of the world, but I think it's super useful. And yeah, been going on for almost half an hour. Don't really know if I have too much to say. I think it's definitely worth it. I want to use it more for upcoming stuff. My idea was to use it for like little launchpad events, but that obviously isn't happening. But for maybe gigs or locally and stuff like that, this will definitely be in use the next big event I go to where I'm actually operating. So NASA, basically. For other events, I will bring it, but I don't know if I'll necessarily use it. That's the question. But again, it's a super quick capture card as well over USB. This is the USB quality, so pretty nifty. Just trying to think if there's anything else I want to go over. No, that's probably it. All right. I will talk to you guys later, and hopefully we'll be doing more streams from this Atem Mini. See ya.